Now I said it was going to be a continuation because my space was running, so I had to go clear some stuff out. Come to find out, the reason why my son was acting all strange and shit is because the people that he was downtown hanging out with, you know, and being around, you know, they was poisoning my son. They put something in his drink. They was they was putting shit in his drink. They put shit in the weed. They sold it to me and they sold it to him. Like the effect didn't have that. It was like it didn't have no effect on me. I guess just because of like my body structure, my will or whatever. I don't drink. I stopped drinking. What was that? It was right after my brother Keyshawn's memorial at my mom's house, where I just got like I was just drinking with like the family and shit like that, and I believe they probably tried to poison me. Then who the fuck knows? But like alcohol just started to just not be something that my palate was craving anymore. So I had cut it out. I even had stopped smoking weed for a minute too, you know what I mean? Until my son had moved back home in 2018. So, and then I wasn't even smoking it all willy nilly like that. And, yeah. So back to this, like, they poisoned my son. And I knew right then that the shit was getting real around the people. So I kept on suggesting to my son, like, yo, just stay away from these people. Like, they mean you no fucking good. Just focus on yourself. Focus on going to work. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't want to be in the house by himself or whatever because he was saying that he was having, certain dreams and shit like that that kept him, like, waking up and, uneasy. But nobody seems to think that voodoo and witchcraft and shit like that is real, which is very much so real. Everybody thought that I was a weirdo. Everybody thought that I was strange and all of this other shit because I had been talking about this shit. But everybody gonna see it for what it is. They attack your spirit when they see something in a person that they can't see within themselves, and they don't want to take the time out to do the work and you know what I mean and elevate out of that shit. So they was intentionally causing my son, physical ailment. Like I had mentioned in a previous video, like my son has never had a seizure. He's 24 years old, but when he started um, getting into a relationship with the girl Ijavia that he was messing with, like he had a seizure. And how I knew he had a seizure, like this girl called me out of nowhere, and that was July of last year, that she called me like a little bit after 3 in the morning, like freaking the fuck out, saying my son was foaming at the mouth and all of this other shit. And I asked her, "What did you do to my son?" Because my son has never had any type of seizures or anything like that. It just has been a weird experience, but I know that the police department and the sheriffs and everybody, they have been doing a lot of things to my child prior to me moving. And now that I'm here and now that he has someone to speak up for him and to be able to let shit be known, like, because he was unaware of a whole bunch of things. But I'll shed light on any situation and I'll let shit be known. Like I said, I don't know what else my son had gotten himself into, or, the extent of whatever the people that he was around was into. But I do know that that experience with him, like being all talking all crazy out his head and shit like that, because when he had came back to my house, and I believe that was in October of 2021. Yeah, October 2021. This guy named Chris from the program that he was in, I think that was, yeah, he had brought my son to my house or whatever, and Marquise had gave me this note, and I still have it to this day. And he pretty much was saying that, he had a point to prove, but he apologized, for his behavior. But I had, once he had came inside, we sat down and we talked, And I asked him, like, why would you say all of that death shit and shit like that? And he was like, Mommy, I don't remember saying any of that to you. He was like, I'm sorry, this, that, and the third. So I know that whatever the fuck they did to my child, because see, these people that was hanging around in that park, they was working with the police that, was around that park. And there was times where, people just come up to my son and just start trying to fight him and shit like that. And then he's standing up for himself and they see he wasn't no punk, that he know how to fight. They couldn't overpower him and shit like that. And then police come on the scene after the fight and shit is over with. Like, yeah, we watched the whole thing. We seen what happened. But and my son said, he asked them, well, why you ain't come down here then when you seen the shit going on? I was minding my business, this, that, and the third, you know. And it's like stuff like that will have a person start going into like beast mode, because if you supposed to be protecting and serving the community and you come and willfully tell somebody that you were sitting a ways from them watching the whole thing go down, like what type of justice is that? What type of, and then all of the prostitution and shit that was going on down in that damn park, the drug dealing, the prostitution, the robbing, like people coming to come buy drugs from these dealers and shit like that, and they hauling off and fighting them and shit, like, and robbing them of whatever they have. And then, the people that was tourists and stuff that come here from different places, they getting, harassed and stuff like that. Like, I'm just sick of the injustices when it comes to people that are put into higher positions, especially the police. There, namely, and then the higher ups, the freaking judges, the lawyers, the DEAs, the sheriffs, and all of these people that, all work in tandem together to fucking cover up shit and, being paid under the table to make certain, cases get swayed, a certain type of way to have their best interests at heart. Like, I had to fucking write the judge that my son had to go before when he was defending himself, because a dude downtown, my son was trying to help these young children, and there was this older man that was harassing the kids and stuff. And he said when he was walking up, he hear the kids telling them to leave him alone. So my son like, yo, they're saying leave him alone, like go ahead. And then the guy started getting all beefy with him and shit, like, who the fuck are you, and da da da, and I know how to fight and all of this other stuff, like trying to taunt the situation. And the way that the halo cams and shit like that, it's everywhere downtown. So it was no way when my son requested it, once the court case came about, that the prosecution couldn't retrieve all of those court cams and the freaking body cams from the police officers, which my son had, text to the person that was supposed to be representing him and asked him could they get certain screen footage so that he can let them see exactly what he was saying. But they put this one funky ass fucking halo cam up, when they had the case go on, that a bus pulled up, and all they seen after the bus rolled off was my son fighting the dude. It didn't show that the dude struck my son first to where my son defended himself. That's just clearly the unjust things I wrote into the judge. And I explained to them like, yo, there was a request made that all of the body cams and footage and stuff like that be submitted in behalf of my son, to be able to prove his case that he was literally defending the children as well as himself. They just wanted my son to be back on, the police watch, and have him under a court case and have him under probation and shit like that, because my son had cleared all of that up, to where he was able to go and apply for the dispensary and things of that nature. And then all of a sudden, like, he working at the dispensary with all of these freaking different, managers and stuff like that. And my son, knowing what he know, and he's smart how he is. And then, it's a racial thing that was going on. I'm not a racist. My son's not a racist, clearly, because he dates outside of his race. So that's not even an issue. So they would purposely do things to antagonize my son, to where they eventually talk about, oh, you're fired. just to have like their chest swelled out and stuff like it's just disgusting how these people that are in positions of power abuse their power and their authority, based off of their race and based off of their financial bracket, or, oh, I'm a business owner, so I could just do what I want to do to these people. I could just talk to them how I want to talk to them, and ain't nobody going to do nothing about it. Like, that is not cool. It's not cool at all. I experienced the whole shit when I was working at the job I was working at, and then I was like, I will not give you the pleasure of telling me that I'm fired. I quit because like the way that the manager was talking to me, and then had a coworker chiming in, and I never even talked to the young lady, you know. And then the guy that had filled in for the manager that went out on maternity leave, I went to him with the situation. I went to Zach, and like, Zach, this, that, and the third going on. Why did I ask you for more days on the schedule? You put me on more days, and Lawrence ain't even letting me work my full shift and stuff. He continuously sending me home, sending me home, sending me home. But yet Lawrence is coming in. His shift starts at 4 o'clock. Well, on the days that I was working, but this man coming in 5:30, but he's still putting in that he came in at 4 o'clock doing time adjustment and shit like that, but shorting other people hours, you know. Like, I spoke on that, and then I spoke to the higher up, Carlos, and Carlos is like, well, we can only pay you for what you clock in for. I was like, well, I would be able to be paid fully if the man wasn't continuously sending me home as if, I was a problem or something like that. But if I went above and beyond to ask the step in manager, Zach, to put me on and give me more hours, why is it that this manager here that I'm on the clock with? Because every time Zach came when I was on, we ain't had no problems. Everything went smooth. Every time when Zach wasn't there and Lawrence was in charge, it was always him sending me home. Like, everybody has their own, and I called the corporate and everything, and I told them about what was going on. Like, these people, they abuse their power, period. Like, for everybody that's out there where you experience these type of situations, please don't be silent. Please don't bite your tongue. Please don't be afraid to speak up and let stuff be known. Document what you have to document. Submit whatever paperwork that you have to, and stand up for yourself, because these people will railroad the shit out of you. Just like they abused him at Marco's Pizza. Like, they was only giving him like 1 or 2 days a week while everybody else is on schedule, fully rocking and shit. But it was like, it was their family. It was like a family ran type of situation. So, everybody looking out for their favorites and shit like that. And they knew the situation that was going on with my son, when it came to the part of his homelessness and shit like that. And, then we came over here and they laughed. Fucking Ro, he was a dickhead. Like, he's a fucking ladies man or whatever. Like, ugh. Then Mandy, she didn't like my son, and that was their sister in law or whatever. It's just too much. It's just way too freaking much. This. And then the guy, like the place that he was working at, 10 Strawberry, the manager Zachary that worked there, he was on some old other bullshit and, causing unnecessary problems. And you got the co-workers and stuff harassing my son and trying to swell up and do all of this other stuff. And he only wanted to go to work and do his damn job, from what I was told. And, they fired him. Like, just doing the extra most because my son is not a person that's not going to speak up for himself. So y'all want us to be silent while y'all continue to try to railroad somebody just because you're in a position of authority? That's not how any of this works. I don't want none of y'all out there to feel as though just because it's a job, yeah, we all need to go and make money and stuff like that to be able to support ourselves, for the people that do 9 to 5s and stuff like that. But like, that doesn't mean that you have to lower your self-esteem and your self-worth just to be able to have that position. There are so many jobs out here in this world. There are so many opportunities. There are so many different avenues that you can go down to get the same thing accomplished, outside of lowering your standards on who you know that you are to be as a person. and just because you need that job to be able to support your family and make sure that your bills are paid and you be able to put food in your family's mouths, it's not worth being demeaned and diminished in your soul and your spirit or your character for nobody. I don't care who it is. Like, people got it messed up where they get entitled to feel as though, you know, just because they're in this position, they can walk around all cocky and macho. Oh, I'm so and so and so. No, that shit don't make you. A real boss knows how to run a company with integrity, morals, and value, and have human decent integrity for themselves and for their employees. You depend on these people to come in, and it's supposed to be a teamwork effort. But when you got this one over here whispering, yeah, go cause problems for so and so over there, and I'll pay you a little bit more, or I'll give you this, and like, and then y'all bribing people to go in different court board meetings and stuff like that, to lie on people, to devalue the person's character. Y'all got the game all the way twisted. That's not how idiot is supposed to work. None of this shit. None of this shit. That's not how any of this shit is supposed to work. But y'all continue to, laugh behind the scenes and, oh yeah, I fired him and da da da. That makes you feel good to take out of someone else's pocket, take from someone else's stability, take from someone else's ability to be able to feed themselves and take care of themselves. But then at the same time, y'all want to start making reports and shit like that, talking, oh, they're lazy and they won't do this and they won't do that and blah blah blah. Why? Because a person ain't taking your shit. It is 2023, and from 2023 and beyond, ain't nobody taking that bullshit no more. Y'all need to grow up. And if y'all can't do y'all jobs properly, then y'all need to step down and let real motherfuckers that's willing to go and work up the ladder to get there, you know. Let a real motherfucker be great. That's all I'm saying. Let a real motherfucker be great. That's all.